Hey there, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is a weekly angel card reading for the week starting the 27th of September through to the 3rd of October 2021. Whoops, almost lost track. Hard to keep track of the days right now, especially in lockdown. Okay, before I start, I should mention that Monday marks the first day of the Mercury retrograde. Probably already feeling the effects of it since it does start to have a build-up pre-shadow. But this is when it's, this is the Mercury retrograde proper, starting Monday for 3 weeks or thereabouts. For those of you who don't know, tons of information about that online as to what that means. I personally don't like to invest a lot of energy into it. I know it's significant, so I do, try to back up my data and such like things, and I am more mindful of my communication. But in general, I don't let it hang over me because some people get way too invested in this sort of thing. So, Monday, fairness. How appropriate for Libra season. In fact, we even have the scales on here and the dove, which is also appropriate for Libra, the sign of peace. Very diplomatic sign. So this card is the goddess called Mart. That's how I'm choosing to pronounce it. And it's all about fairness. So often in a personal reading, this will come up with someone who is trying to deal with a complicated situation. It might be a custody arrangement, it might be a job contract negotiation, some sort of legal sort of processes. And this card will be a very welcome reassurance to them that things are going to be handled in a fair and just manner for everybody. Very reassuring, and perhaps that speaks to you. For everybody else, it's a reminder to try and treat people fairly. And everybody, including myself, can lose track of this. Sometimes we get too into our own stuff and we forget about how the impact on other people. So now, obviously, there are people listening who often go too far to accommodate people to the point where they get taken advantage of. That's not what this is about. It's just about being fair and making sure that we do that. So Tuesday, I did an awkward shuffle here, but we've got the card we need. I think, actually, no, I don't think this is the right card deck, so I'm going to put that back. Technical difficulties. Here we go. Tuesday, this came straight out, so it was clearly needed. Become the true you, the Waratah there, symbol of my state, New South Wales. The card is about being authentic. And that's a term that gets bandied about a lot, but I think it's sometimes misused. I'll get to that in a minute. So the card says, show the world who you really are and what you were born to do. So for those of you who are feeling called to start maybe a healing practice or start a new business or a new hobby, a passion, start a new chapter of your life, this would absolutely be speaking to you. In terms of the authenticity, I think sometimes people say, well, I'm just being myself to justify bad behavior. That is not what this is about. So being authentic really means expressing our true feelings, but as this card indicates, we must still be fair to people. Being authentic doesn't give us license to go around treating people badly. It doesn't give us license to trot all over people's feelings. We've still got to be conscious of how what we're putting out will be received. Obviously, we've still got to, it's a balance sometimes, but I think that just about everybody listening will know that, it's when you're being authentic, the people who are going to be upset about that, if you are being fair and you are being reasonable, are the people who may have benefited in some way from you the way you were before. Maybe you were someone who liked to gossip all the time and suddenly you stop doing that and start focusing on more positive aspects of the workplace, and they're going to feel aggrieved by that, I should say, because it forces them to look at their own behaviour and maybe they don't want to do that. And it's not to say that they have to change at all. It's your decision. It doesn't impact them. But people often take people making changes very personally. So I'm not sure that was a particularly good example, but I'm sure you'll get what you need. Become a true you. Is there some aspect of yourself that you're hiding? Sometimes when we start dating someone new, it's very easy to suppress parts of our personality because we don't want to let out the weirdness too early and scare them off. But there might be something in there that you do need to express that they're not getting. And that could be anything from maybe a hobby that you have that you're hiding, or maybe even though there's probably no reason to hide it from it. And maybe it's something like a goal that you have. Maybe you are planning a trip of some sort and you haven't explained that to them yet. I don't know if these are very good examples at all, so we'll just move on from that. But certainly it's about answering that call within us to go ahead with what we're here to do, life purpose stuff. And I know not everybody knows what their life purpose is, but if you know enough to know you're being pulled in some sort of direction, go with it. Wednesday is higher education. I love the colours of this card. It just is beautiful to look at. It could be formal education. I always talk about this, how there's a difference between formal and informal education. So the formal can be your your schooling, your universities, your colleges, etc. And it can apply to you whether you're teaching or learning. But it can also be informal education, maybe training, embarking on some sort of mentoring program, all those sorts of things, coaching. It's about learning something new that you need, maybe to become the true you. Maybe you want to do something that speaks to you authentically, but it will require you to deal with some fears, maybe some fears around failure. Maybe you need a coach to help you with that so you can step into your true power in that way. Higher education, this can also be about life lessons. So if there's something going on for you that you keep getting stuck, like an area where you keep getting stuck, obviously as a healer I would say seek out some healing to help you, because if there's a pattern there's going to be a need for healing. But I think the other thing is there might be something the universe is trying to show you there. That's not to say the universe wants to punish us, but the universe sometimes will let us go into situations that maybe don't serve us, so that we can learn, and we can learn to be empowered about stepping out of that. So just look at whether power could be a theme here. That's what's coming through for me. And looking at the life lesson as well. Sometimes people do get stuck with that because they think, why am I, bad things keep happening to me? Is the universe trying to punish me? And that's not how the universe works. And sometimes it's because they may have inadvertently caused those situations by not setting boundaries, by going down paths that don't serve them. So it's not the universe at all. And that's not to say the person is responsible, but they may be at least partially contributing to the situation, and by learning some sort of lesson that can help make them less likely to go into that sort of go down that path. But we must remember sometimes bad things do happen and we don't know why, so we have to be careful not to go down a path of trying to figure out the reason for everything, because we'll never be successful in understanding the reason for absolutely everything. Thursday's card is daydream. Now, I interpret this as being more about dreams than daydreams, because I think they're more helpful. I mean, daydreams can be helpful sometimes. They can show us what we're passionate about, what makes us come alive. I find I go more into a daydreamy state when I'm not doing enough creative stuff in my life. So that might be something to think about. This is certainly an invitation to go into more creative activities, making sure you're making time for that. Don't forget that creativity is a conversation with the divine. It is something that when we are creative, we're pulling through those ideas from spirit. That's why it's so good for us to get, other new ideas when we're being creative. But of course we can't force it. It's being in that flow. It's when things start to work for us. So as I said, dreams can also be part of that. If you are having a particular dream that you feel is significant, and our intuition always tells us, maybe you could get some help in trying to understand what's going on there, what it's trying to tell you, especially if it's recurring. It's really a really good signifier that the dream is meaningful. So it could also be about your dreams, that your awake dreams, what your dreams are for your life, and encouraging you to go after that. Friday, innocence. So this is all about resentment that we may have towards other people. I don't want to bang on about this because I've talked about it so many times, but I don't advocate for forgiveness. I don't think it's empowering. I think it's very disempowering. What I advocate for is ways to help us be at peace with what's going on. And sometimes we need to start by dropping the blame and shame game. And so that means if we're blaming other people, that's not going to help us move forward. So instead of blaming, it's looking at ways we can find peace. And I think the central message here is that people have the capacity for good and the capacity for bad. And sometimes they make very bad choices that affect us in very negative ways. And this might be not about not condoning their choices or their behaviours, but making sure that we don't demonize them or, we don't start cancelling them or anything like that. Depends what's happened, of course. Sometimes that absolutely may be appropriate. But this is about, not flying off the handle and going down that blame and shame path so much that you don't, you fail to recognise where the person might have been coming from. And again, that may not make it okay, but it is about having that deeper understanding of what's going on there. Very hard to do, I know, and I'm totally oversimplifying here. Now, I should point out that card's often towards ourselves. So if we are blaming and shaming ourselves, this might be an invitation to let yourself off the hook. It's probably not helping you at all. But if I link that back to that earlier message, there may be something in there that you do need to learn to help you, help you understand that life lesson so that you don't make that, make that sort of choice again that didn't serve you. Saturday, clear yourself. A lot of big energy around at the moment, so this may be about clearing what you're holding on to that you've picked up from your workplace, from your household, from the news, from social media, anything at all. So just doing a bit of a clearing. Tons of clearing meditations available on YouTube. Meditation is one of the best things you can do to clear your energy anyway. Walking in nature is another of the best things you can do to clear your energy. And try to really be present when you're doing that, when you're walking in nature, rather than just using it as a vehicle for continuing to worry and stress out. Epsom salts are also really good for clearing. Crystals can be great. There's lots of information about that online, so I think I will move on from that one. It's only almost 12 minutes. This is a very short video, but that's okay. We will get what we need. Sunday, healthy lifestyle. Now, this is one of those messages where we come back into the importance of having a good foundation in terms of spirituality. So we must have having a strong platform of physical health does assist us with reaching for spirituality. Now, that's not to say that if you're sick you can't have a spiritual connection. I've been very unwell and still being able to connect with my intuition, but it is much easier to move along a spiritual journey over the long term if you are taking care of your physical health. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you have to be free of disease. We can all get sick, but we have to make sure that we are not neglecting our physical health. So those cornerstones of drinking lots of water, that's really important for your energy, by the way. Having a healthy diet doesn't mean you have to give up junk food. It just means making sure you are getting a lot of nutrients in your diet. You are getting lots of sleep, also super important. Lets the dreams come through as well. And exercise also, that really helps with the energy too. Obviously on a physical level, but also spiritually. So when we're looking after our body, you think about what the message that you're sending to the universe is. I value myself. I care about myself. That's really powerful. So it's not just about those, the actions that you're doing to nourish yourself. It's about what that says. And the statements that we make to the universe are what helps to draw in more of what we want and less of what we don't. Or, and if we aren't taking care of ourselves, we're really saying to the universe, I don't value myself, and that may mean it's more likely for you to attract situations where you aren't treated like you are someone who is valuable. Oversimplification, I know, but there is something in that. So really making sure that you are prioritizing your physical and mental health as well. It's really important for spirituality. It's important for everything, really. It's also important for your loved ones, looking after yourself, particularly if you're a parent. That is how you role model good behaviours to your kids, and you show them that you know your worth, and it means that you've got more to help, more energy and more, that's physical energy, and more time to help, because when we are spending time investing in our health, it gives us more energy. It's like we're spending time, but we get more time back. So it's a bit of a false economy to think I lose time if I exercise, because we get so much back from it. We're able to do more with the time we've got left. Okay, stepping into your power comes up very strongly for me. And we've also got messages around life lessons and authenticity. So interesting week. I hope you get a lot from the week and from these messages as well. If you're following me on Instagram, you'll already know these cards go up each day. If you are not, good time to do it. at One Grounded Angel is my Instagram handle, at One Grounded Angel, and you can also find me on Facebook, One Grounded Angel. If you'd like to know more about the healing work that I do, you can find out tons on my website, which is www.onegroundedangel.com. Onegroundedangel.com. There's a tab there that talks about what I do, and there's also a tab there that talks about, well, it gives you the opportunity really to contact me. If you're interested in healing with me, but you're not quite sure that you're ready or you want more information, I do offer a free 10-minute discovery call. It's just fill out the booking form to do that, and that's when we can have a chat on the phone and I can find out really if I'm the right healer to help you. And if I'm not, I'll tell you, because I don't want to take on clients if I don't feel I can help you. It's not good for either of us. So that's how it works. I am based in Australia, but my clients are all over the world thanks to Zoom. And my website, onegroundedangel.com, if you want to know more. Thanks everybody, and have a great week.